We got to go behind the scenes for the first Texas Tailgaters game in Texas and got to go on the field to interview some players and watched an incredible game and saw the Texas Tailgaters win their first ever game in Texas.
And I got to meet and interview Drew Gillespie and Jake Skoll.
All that and more on this week's Banana Breakdown.
Welcome to the Banana Breakdown podcast. Whether it's player interviews, weekly breakdowns of the games, or post-game live streams, we love to talk about all things Banana Ball.
Okay, Sammy, what were your initial thoughts coming back from that game in Frisco, Texas?
It was awesome. It was such a cool experience, honestly, up there with one of my all-time favorite experiences. I'd never been to Texas before. We were there for a little tiny bit more than 24 hours, so I didn't really get to experience Texas, but Frisco is awesome. And I will say Riders Field, where the Frisco Rough Riders play, that's where this first headlining game by the Texas Tailgaters was. It's just an awesome minor league ballpark. I've been to a few, and this is by far the coolest one. Uh, Lazy River inside. The bullpens are up in the stands, which I've never seen before. The entire all the suites look, I don't know, it looks like more of a horse racing track than a baseball field. The whole thing was awesome. So I had a blast, and obviously the game was great, and we'll talk about the rest of it, but it was a really, really cool experience. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was really cool to see the Texas Tailgaters here in Texas and be able to experience that, all the crazy stuff that they pulled into the game. And then obviously being able to go on the field and interview some players was absolutely incredible. And we really appreciate the Banana Ball team for helping us out there. And it was a great time.
Yeah, it was the first time either of us have been members of the media. It felt pretty cool to have I should have grabbed my media credential thing to show it off, but I took some pictures. I threw it on Instagram and Twitter, but yeah, we had our little media passes, and that got us basically anywhere that we wanted to go, which was kind of cool, including on the field. And so we got there at a little before 12 o'clock. We had to get in and out before that. Brandon was hungry after we got off the flight. And we got there a little before 12, and the game doesn't start till 7, and we were already on the field. No one else was there. We got to be on the field for almost 5 hours of just talking to players, just kind of experiencing it. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, we had such a good time there, and we're excited to share a little bit more about it with all of you today. And a sneak peek for what's to come. I think we might have witnessed the weirdest, craziest Banana Ball game I've ever seen, and we've got some stats to back it up. So we're excited to share that with you guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty weird game. The overall experience was great, but the game itself had a lot of quirks. The night before, the party animals, these guys right here on my hat, the party animals just blew the Texas Tailgaters out of the water. First ever home game for the Texas Tailgaters. Super excited. They probably were a little bit nervous. It was a little bit of a sloppy play overall, and the party animals they ended up, just taking it to them and blowing them out, which was a little disappointing, I'm sure, for the Texas faithful. But the Texas Tailgaters responded well the next game, and that's the one that we were able to attend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so they definitely came off that. And being on the field, we were able to talk to them, and they were mentioning how crazy hot it was on Thursday and how much work the Tailgaters had to put in on that hot day to practice a bunch of stuff. And so that could have been a part of it. But yeah, that was one of the best party animal games. They won 8-3, absolutely blew out the Tailgaters. And then we'll talk about what happened the second night in a minute.
Yeah, crazy stuff. It was a lot better on the weather-wise. It was a lot better on Saturday. But yeah, so before the game started, we ended up having 12 interviews total with players and staff. And that was just awesome. It was our first time interviewing players in person. And so we were a little nervous going into it, but it really turned out great. The guys are so nice and encouraging, and it was just a really great experience. I really have no complaints.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, and yeah, it was crazy how personable and nice the players were and giving us those interviews. And we'll be putting those full interviews on the podcast shortly, and some of them might even be up by the time this episode airs. We got a bunch of like 5 minute interviews with the players, which was really cool to kind of get a little bit of their thoughts on how the season's going so far, and especially for the Texas Tailgaters, how it felt to be playing in Texas. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. It was cool to talk to them because I think I could be wrong here, but I think that we're we were probably the first members of the media to come and only talk to them about like we were focused on banana ball, like there's other people that were there that were like local, and that happens pretty frequently when the Savannah Bananas roll into town. The local newspaper wants to cover them because they're there. But I could be wrong, but it seemed like we were the first ones that were like we are banana ball. We are banana ball journalists, if that's what we
Yep.
can call ourselves. Um, I mean, we do write for Bananas on SI now, but like that's what we're focusing on. And I think that was kind of a breath of fresh air for some of the players. Like we weren't asking them the same questions that they always get asked of like, all right, explain what banana ball is to all like our readers, because the people that watch us and they already know what banana ball is, or else, I mean, maybe there's some that are learning it for the first time, but for the most part, the people that watch what we make, they they already like banana ball, or else they wouldn't be watching it. And so it was cool to be able to ask them questions about like how the season is going, the tour championship, uh some league statistics, stuff like that we're asking them about. And I think that was a little bit different, and beneficial, I think, for obviously for us it was awesome, but I also could be wrong, but it seemed like it was a cool experience for them too, of like, okay, this is validating that this is a real sport. At least that's what we were trying to do.
Yeah, and that was one of the coolest things was talking with some of the staff behind the scenes and how excited they were about the podcast. And we were like, it should be the other way around. Like we're excited to be here. Like you're not supposed to be excited about us. So it was really cool to see some of that and how excited they were just in general to have a dedicated Banana Ball podcast. And yeah, I we're excited for the growth of Banana Ball. We see it and where it's going, and I think that they were able to have a really good time with us there. And we're really grateful again to everyone there and the players for taking the time. We had some really good interviews, and we're excited for everyone to see those. And also, just so you know, if you're listening on a podcast platform, we will also publish the interviews on those as well. So you can check out the interviews on YouTube to see the video of us with the players. But if you're just audio focused on your podcast, you can totally listen to it still on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really cool to talk to, the creative team, the people that were behind the scenes. I want to give a shout out to McKay, who was just an amazing, she was our media contact or media relations contact, which sounds so cool that I can say that. I don't know why, but it was just like, yeah, we're just texting our media contact right now. But she was outstanding, so helpful. She answered all our questions, was really patient with us as we were trying to figure this stuff out, and she was amazing at, getting us in contact with the players that we wanted to interview and everything. She was just amazing. And then, shout out to everyone else that we talked to as well, that was just so welcoming, and the environment was just so positive. And I don't think that, I've worked but in sports behind the scenes before, not on the media side of things. Um, but I have been, like on the field during a college baseball game before, not media stuff, but with, doing stuff with facilities and things like that. Um, and it was a completely different vibe, for me this time with how positive everyone was, and sports can be a really stressful time for people, and sometimes people can not be their best selves, but everyone was just top notch, and it was just a great experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's jump into some of the stuff that happened during the game. So this was the first Texas Tailgaters headlining tour. So we saw a bunch of new things about their brand that we had never seen before. One of my favorites is instead of saying start the clock at the beginning of the game, they roll out a grill to the first base coach box and they say start the grill while pouring lighter fluid and then just a huge bonfire coming out of the charcoal that you can see from anywhere in the stadium. And that's how they start the clock and get the game started, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, that was so funny. Great way to start. Yeah, there was a lot of awesome stuff. The grill just kind of stayed on during the game, and uh yeah, Brett Carson, you'll hear it in the interview, but he mentioned that first game he got after getting a base hit, he he took a bite of hot dog, and just funny stuff like that. Yeah, the hot dog thing reminds me. I think a lot of people saw that Jonathan Sunshine Looters was wearing a hot dog costume at a certain point during the game, but the funny thing was, if you go to a Bananas game, the ticket scanners are wearing banana costumes. This time the ticket scanners were wearing hot dog costumes. So that was a nice touch too.
Yeah, I loved all of the tailgater vibes. They were out in the parking lot as the fans were arriving, playing tailgating games out with them, and then when they come in, obviously, then it's just all of these different hints at tailgating at every turn, and it was just really cool to like see the full brand and looking into the future. Jesse just made a video recently talking about the two new teams that they're announcing literally within a month. Like we're like a month and a day away from the selection show. And he was talking about how excited he is about those brands and how they built them in the same way of you have the Bananas that are kind of like a circus and they're the greatest show. You got the party animals, they bring the party. You've got the firefighters, the hottest team in sports, and the tailgaters, they've got the best pre-party. Like they have all of these distinct brands, which you don't find in other sports as much. And so I think that's really cool how when we went to this tailgaters game, it had the distinct feel of Banana Ball and the Savannah Bananas in there, but it was very distinct to the tailgaters, and I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a tailgaters vibe. The VIP VIB thing for if you get those tickets, you can come down and interact with the players on the field, and they were playing tailgating games, can jam, cornhole, all sorts of stuff there. Yeah, it definitely felt different. I also liked because the last we've been to 3 games. The first game was in a spring training park, Sloan Park in Mesa for the Cubs spring training facility. Then we went to the game in Anaheim, which was in the Angel Stadium, and then now this one, which is a minor league stadium in Frisco. And I think of those 3, I think I have to say that I like the smaller stadiums more. Like it was cool to be in an MLB ballpark. I'm sure we've talked to a lot of players, and they love playing in the MLB ballparks, of course. And obviously it's great to fit as many people in as possible, but there's something special about being in a smaller stadium as well. And I really liked how I think there's only 10,000 people at this one, which it's still a lot, but it felt smaller, and you're closer to the action, and that's what I liked.
Yeah, it's definitely where we in Anaheim, my favorite part of it is when the crowd gets going, it's completely deafening to the point that like you can't get in a smaller stadium because we had 40 something thousand people there. But I agree. I think overall the smaller stadiums are better in that you get those close interactions with the players that you want for the kids and you're able to have all of those different things where the different entertainment things happen closer to you. Where in an MLB stadium or in like Clemson, the football stadium, it's harder to get all of those touch points. The Bananas do a great job of doing that, but like you're just closer to the action, which is pretty cool to see in the smaller stadiums.
Yeah, definitely. Well, do we want to talk about the game itself?
Let's jump into it. I've got some stats that I pulled together from bananaball.com/stats because we were kind of shaking our heads during the game of how is this even happening?
It
So I
was
had to dig
weird,
into it.
man. It was so weird. Like we were just it was fun, of course. Like they're all fun, but we are just like, what is going on? So yeah, tell us some of the weird stats. The pitching was kind of weird.
Yes, we had in a normal banana ball game, I pulled the average. The normal average for ball four sprints in a game is about 6.5 ball four sprints. In this game, there were 15 ball four sprints. I'm gonna repeat that. 6.5 in a normal game, 15 in this game. Like we were literally looking at each other like, did they just do another ball four sprint? Like it just kept happening. And I
And
still
there were
don't know
quite a
exactly.
few of those were, yeah, quite a few of those were walk-offs too, to
Yes.
end the inning. And so that was just, yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, and for those watching on YouTube, we'll throw up a graphic that I made here just to highlight some of the other ones. But then the other piece was the hit by pitch. Normally that happens maybe 1 to 2 times a game. There were 8 people that were beamed in this game. And it was like we started to see like some of the potential tensions rising, and like it started like halfway through, the umpire when it would happen would come and basically walk the player down to first base like to make sure that like nothing happened. It was pretty weird to see in a banana ball game, but like I didn't realize this during the game, but 2 of the players got hit twice during the game, which is understandable why, even though you can realize like, hey, it was probably an accident, it's still like, come on, like I got hit again. Like, why does this keep happening?
Yeah, and there were so many pitchers that pitched too, and so it's like in every banana ball game, there's lots of pitchers involved, and it just kept on happening, no matter what pitcher was out there. And yeah, you're right. The vibe was just weird when that kept happening because you brought it up while we were sitting next to each other. You're like, the party animals bench is just not like, they're always dancing, they're always out there. It There was a time like in the middle of the game, energy started to come back towards the end, but like in the middle of the game, the energy was kind of dead and the guys were just standing there and it was weird.
Yeah, and it's like one of the things that is awesome about banana ball is that when there is though like a hit by pitch, they usually do some sort of dance or skit to walk it off. But like all of these looked like they were in like really painful spots, and like you could tell that the player was like it like you would hit him on the elbow or something where it's like they're in a lot of pain, and so they didn't even have those like fun things to like shake off some of the tense part of the moment. And so it was like just yeah, I felt like some of the tension was building there. But on the pitching side as well, it wasn't just on the ball four sprint and beanball sides. In a normal game, there's about 10 strikeouts in banana ball. There were 16 strikeouts in this game. So it was like there just every bit of this game was out of the ordinary. It was super bizarre.
Yeah, the pitching was either top notch or really bad. But then the bats, because of how awkward, I guess, or because of there was no momentum because of how many ball four sprints there was. Sometimes, and we talked to players about this, Sid Baber and I were talking about this before the game of how they like being the away team because they can really start rattling off hits and like that momentum carries because you can score as many points as you want in an inning as an away team. And so that momentum comes and you just really start feeling it. But with how clunky this game was, with the ball four sprints, hit by pitches, and strikeouts, there was no momentum that any player could get into.
Yeah, and that was something that I didn't fully put my finger on during the game. I noticed that there were no home runs. There was a couple that got really close to the wall, but when I looked at the stats afterwards, the only hits were singles. Like there were no doubles, no triples. Like it was just literally they would get like ground ball singles or ball four sprints or beam like that. So there was a little bit of that where on the baseball side, there weren't as many exciting moments in this game. But even just like sitting there afterwards, like the stuff that happened in the show was so entertaining and so fun that it was like it was still a good experience. And the ninth inning, like kudos to Banana Ball. The way that you've done the rules, even when you have more of a rough game, the ninth inning was still so fun to watch and so intense because I thought the party animals were going to come back. And so with all of those things combined, it was still a great game, but it was the most bizarre thing I've ever watched.
Yeah, that ninth inning was pretty crazy because everyone was on their feet because the party animals started to go on a 2-out rally. There's 2 outs. John Reed was amazing on the mound to close out the game, and he gets I think it was Reese Hampton it was Reese Hampton because he ends up scoring later on. Reese Hampton, he gets him to fly out, and it goes to center field, and Indy Stanley's there, and he tries to do a backflip catch to end the game, which would have been awesome. And we saw Coach Rack do that uh, this weekend. He tries it, and he misses the ball, and then Reese Hampton's able to get to second. I think he got to second. Maybe it was just first, but he got on base. And sorry, it was just first.
Yeah, because he's then when
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because there were no doubles, but I don't know. Yeah, anyway, so he gets to first. He does end up scoring. That's
On a
right,
ball
because it
four.
was a ball force sprint that he scored from first base. He was so
It's
fast.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So he ends up scoring. And then it's 3-2 at that point, and so it starts to really get close. And I feel really bad for Indy Stanley for missing that. You could tell he felt so bad about that. But he had the guts to try it. You got to give him credit for that because that would have been awesome if it would have
Yeah.
worked. But then John Reed was able to strike out Tanner Thomas at the end to win the game. But great point that even though the game for 8 innings was really clunky, because of the rules, it was really exciting at the end, and everyone was on their feet, and everyone was just like, "Oh my gosh, are the party animals going to do this again? They're going to come back again?" But they couldn't do it.
Yeah, and just like a couple of the moments that kind of were crazy to me was um that I remember distinctly is on the show aspect. The world's slowest race with the babies that they do, that was the funniest one I had ever seen because they literally none of the kids were moving and I'd never seen them do this before. I might have just missed it. They started moving the line forward closer to the kids because no one was moving. And then one of the kids like took a half step forward and the entire crowd of 10,000 people lost their minds. And it was so funny to watch that of like, we're all kind of like, as a crowd having this communal experience of like, we know that this is like ridiculous, but also like, we're getting so into it to see which of the babies is going to win this. And then I also like being in the stadium. I think that's the first time I remember seeing a golden batter in the like live in person because like they dimmed the whole stadium like in an instant and you could hear like a bunch of gasps around and then like they shine the light on Jake's skull as he's walking out with the golden batter cloak and like that was a moment that is so well done for an in-person game that you kind of miss a little bit on the live stream. So that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I will say that was really really awesome. Yeah, good job on the creative team for doing that because that was really cool, and the gold really just shines when the light goes on it on the helmet. So it's really cool. Uh, anyway, uh, what else did you see?
Yeah, so I think another thing that I think we had talked about a couple times that I wanted to express was like we came at it from the like I'm all about like the stats and the cool moments and things like that from what we do on the podcast. So like to me the ball four sprints stood out a lot more of like, oh, I wish that we could see like some home runs or some crazy trick plays or things like that. But being able to talk to one of the fans while we were waiting for the game to start, we met a mom and her son. It was their first time coming to a game, and they were like asking some questions. So we gave them some tips on things that they should look out for or in the game. And by total happenstance, after the game, when we were walking out of the stadium, we met up with those same fans. And so we were able to ask them about the game, and they were so excited and talked about how fun it was. And that was really cool to see of like, okay, it's working. Like again, as we talked about, even when there's those things, they've crafted it in a way where you can still have an amazing experience, even if the baseball is bad. Whereas if you go to another sporting event, if like the baseball is really boring, there's nothing else to help draw you in and have some of those fun moments with your family. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. We've all been to sporting events where it just, right from the jump, you realize that this is not going to be a fun game. And you're like, wow, I just spent a lot of money and I'm at this game and I'm kind of stuck here, but I don't really want to be watching my team get blown out or whatever. But because of the way that the rules work, where anyone is in the game at any point, because of, you win the inning. And also with all the just fun stuff that, it's for everyone, the different promos they do, the different entertainment stuff, it really, it's really great for families to really enjoy themselves. So it was great. And yeah, but it was really cool to talk to them and see how much fun that they had. And that's what it's all about, is bringing families together and helping people make some good memories.
Yeah, and another one that I saw was there's a kid in the row in front of us, and I think it was probably his first time at a game. And I want to give a shout out to the ninja umpire because he was on point the whole game. And one of the first plays, he does a backflip and calls the out, and the kid in front of us lost his mind. He was like, Did he just do a backflip?" And it was really cool for me as kind of like a reset of like I've seen that so many times that it's still incredible and awesome, but it doesn't mean as much to me. And then like seeing it through somebody else's eyes, it's like, oh, this is awesome to like almost experience it for myself for the first time again through the other people around me. So that was cool.
Yeah, the guy that was sitting next to me was laughing at like everything, and it was awesome because he obviously it was his first time, and he would like, because there's stuff going on all the time. We've talked about that before. Like if you just when you're actually at the game, you miss a lot when you're watching the stream, but when you're actually at the game and you just kind of look around, people know, like they know people are watching them, so they're always doing something. And this guy was just seeing all of that and just laughing. And I remember when he had come late, so he didn't see Sunshine bat in the hot dog costume, but he was still wearing it while he was fielding. And Sunshine gets a ground ball, and he turns and throws. And the guy, when he sees Sunshine turn and he realizes that he's wearing a hot dog costume, he just starts laughing so hard. He's like, "What? That guy's wearing a hot dog costume?" Yeah, it was so funny. And one of the things he said to his friend who he was sitting with, he was like, "Man, if you had ADD, this would be awesome." Just like, just because there's just stuff going on all the time. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then I do want to call out one of my favorite memories from the trip. When we were in the ninth inning, we were texting back with McKay, our media contact, and she was saying that we could come and do an interview after the game with a player, and so we were trying to figure out who we wanted to interview, and so it was kind of fun, like in that moment where we were able to kind of think through like all the possible scenarios of like, what if Jake Skull hits a home run right here and it wins the game? What if Indy Stanley would have made the backflip catch? Like some of those things of like who has that moment where we can go interview. And so when John Reed got 2 strikeouts in the ninth inning, closed out the game, we asked if we could interview him, and she responds and says, "Yep, come on to the dugout." And we're like, "So like, do we just like walk on the field?" She says, "Yep." And so we just walk past all the fans, push open the gate, and just walk on the field. And it was such a cool moment to be able to do that. And then John was incredible. He was completely out of breath from doing all of that crazy stuff in the ninth inning, winning the game. And but he still took the time to do that interview, and that was just such an incredible moment to be able to do that with all the fans there. after the game ended.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience to just walk past the, no one asked any questions, and it's like, yeah, we're just going on the field. Yeah, that was really cool. Just being on the field was awesome. I think my favorite part of the whole thing, I just want to give a shout out to Fisher Polydoroff. He just kind of showed up while we were in the while we were in the stands. We were just sitting there kind of catching our breath after some interviews, just sitting in the stands and making some Instagram posts and things like that. And we just hear him and behind us, and we turn around. Oh, it's Old Knuckles, and he's such a great guy, and we just kind of hung out with him for a bit, and uh, that was probably my favorite part. And he it was funny. We were on the field with him, and he asked us if we brought our gloves. And Brandon actually forgot his, and I didn't bring mine because I was like, you know what? I'm, I was thinking so highly of myself. And it's like, you know what? I'm a member of the media. I need to act professional, and I'm not gonna bring my glove. But man, we could have had a catch with Old Knuckles. But we didn't have our mitts. But yeah, it was funny because I was like, dang, why would I think that I should be so professional at a banana ball game? That's like the dumbest thing that I could think. No, I should be as crazy as I want to be.
Yeah, so that'll happen in the future. We'll definitely have to play catch with Old Knuckles at a future time. Doing this game and being able to go there as media was so much fun, and it made me really even more excited for the Tour Championship. I can't believe in about a month we're going to be going to Savannah, Georgia, Grayson Stadium, and being able to see the first ever Tour Championship. With all of that, I did want to bring up. I didn't realize this until I was putting stuff together for this podcast episode. The Party Animals and Firefighters only have 4 more games left in the season, and the Bananas and Tailgaters only have 6. Like, we're almost done. There's 10 total games before the playoffs. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we're getting there. It is crazy. This past few months have just been absolutely insane for us, and part of me is like, I don't want this to end because I want to keep watching the games and everything, but another part of me is like, I need to catch my breath. There's been so much going on. So it's like, oh, October 11th, please come so that I can stop being so exhausted.
Yeah, no,
But we're
definitely.
gonna
uh,
yeah, we're gonna have get some more interviews out during the off season. That's when we're gonna be really busy with interviews. So just, stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So I think we want to talk a little bit as well. I know this is mostly about our experience in Texas, but the Savannah Bananas were playing in San Diego against the Firefighters, and they did some incredible things that I think we would be amiss to not mention here. The most impactful one that I think we need to talk about is Coach Rack. So this weekend on the first game, at the end of the game, there's 2 outs in the ninth inning. Bananas are up. Hop fly out to left field, and Coach Rat goes up for a backflip, catches it, sticks the landing, crowd goes nuts, Bananas win. And then afterwards come to find out that he had kind of hurt his wrist earlier and it was hurting a little bit, but he still played. And then he went and got an x-ray after the game and has like a fractured wrist and is out for the rest of the season. So super big bummer for Bananas fans that and Coach Rack, and hope that he's going to be healing here soon. But also, what a way to go out. And that was an incredible way to show the fans, and especially when you're in pain like that. So kudos to Coach Rack for all you're doing, and hope you get better soon.
Yeah, that's a real bummer. Injuries are the worst in sports, and especially with the first postseason here, a tour championship coming up. Everyone wanted to see him play, the All-Star game, all that. We're it's really a bummer. But we hope for a speedy recovery from him, and can't wait to see him play next season.
Yeah, for sure. And then also with the Bananas, they had 2 crazy guests. They had the guy from Dancing with the Stars, and then they had a Hall of Famer for the Padres. So like they just had some crazy guests out there. So it was funny because Jesse was there for the Texas Tailgaters on Friday night. So we were thinking, hey, maybe he'll be there. we can see him. But he, after the game, stayed late, then flew right over to San Diego. It was at the Bananas game for obvious reasons because they had incredible celebrities there. So
Yeah, I think he was just avoiding us. Just kidding. Yeah, it makes total sense that he would go to the game in San Diego, but yeah, cool stuff there.
yeah, it was cool to see Trevor Hoffman on the mound. He's like 50 or 60 or something, and he was still able to throw the ball over the plate. And with the first batter he was facing, he induced a ground out and won the game for the Bananas. So what a moment for him to get back in front of the fans as a Hall of Fame baseball player and pull that off.
Yeah, that would have been really, really awesome. It is awesome. It would have been really awesome to be there. I was gonna say it is awesome for me. I own a San Diego Padres hat, so like it really meant a lot to me that guy went out there and and pitched. As an owner of a San Diego Padres hat, that just means the world to me.
I think he might have converted you to a Bananas fan.
No, no, never. Party animals for life.
So I mean, talking about that, the rivalry between the Bananas and Party Animals, it's heating up a lot because of this weekend. So the standings up here, the Party Animals and Bananas both have won 41 games this season, and the Party Animals have lost 24 and the Bananas 25. So Bananas have played one more game. Party Animals are barely in first place, hanging on by a thread,
Yeah, half a
and the
game.
Bananas are trying to do everything they can to take them out and win that first seed for the tour championship.
Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous. Not gonna lie. Party Animals had a really, really hot streak at the beginning, but uh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Party Animals, just gotta take care of business and well, I think if the Bananas win out, they get it. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that,
we'll
that
see.
was that was something that I don't fully know how it's gonna work because the Bananas are gonna play a total of 3 more games than the Party Animals. So it's I'm assuming it's gonna have to be some sort of like win percentage. So as it gets closer, we can kind of crunch that a little bit to see what it is. But with the Tailgaters and Firefighters, the Tailgaters have almost guaranteed the number 3 spot. I think if they win like 2 more games or something, or if the Firefighters lose like even one game, it's pretty much lost. So the Tailgaters are pretty much a guaranteed third place at this point. But in this weekend, we might see the clinching of it.
Yeah, and as a Party Animals fan, I really want them to get the 1 seed because I would much rather play the Firefighters than the Tailgaters. Uh, no offense, Firefighters, but it's pretty clear that, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, no, the Tailgaters have the Party Animals number, and they've been able to beat them a couple times, even though most of the time the Party Animals are reigning supreme and coming out on top.
Yeah. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the Party Animals want to lose so that they're the number 2 seed. Because I'd imagine that if the Bananas are the 1 seed and they beat the Firefighters, Party Animals beat the Tailgaters, then the Bananas would be the home team as the 1 seed in the championship, and I think the Party Animals would rather be the away team.
You're saying it's
So we'll see.
purposeful. They're they're
Yeah,
they're
this is
losing
all
on purpose
purposeful.
to get a better seating.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, yes, it was
maybe.
an incredible weekend. We had an incredible time there at the Texas game. Thank you again to the Banana Ball team and McKay especially for your help with all of that. The players were incredible, and we can't wait to share all of the interviews with you guys. And as we prep to get ready for the tour championship, we've got a lot more coming down the pipeline. So if you're not following us on TikTok and Instagram, definitely recommend it. We've been able to post some other short content on there from our trip, and we're going to post some of the clips of the interviews as well. So it's a good place to follow along with what we're doing in addition to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely follow us everywhere. It really helps, and we appreciate all the support. Yeah, go Party Animals.
Go Tailgaters.